The fluoride fat trap. Friends, please know that this is not an advertisement or a recommendation for any product or service, but it's just written to you as a friend. It is an honest attempt to alert you of a serious problem many have and have been fighting to end their whole life. Do you weigh more than you wish? Well, that's a personal question. I'm sorry to ask it, but if you do, I may have the answer for you. Do you wonder why you can't take off those extra pounds and keep them off, even though you diet and exercise and eat like a bird? You still can't seem to keep the extra pounds off? I believe I can help you. I will share this with you, and you can examine my reasons and decide for yourself if you see what I see. Please remember, I'm not a medical researcher or a doctor. I'm basing my conclusions on my own personal experiences and observations and on the research of early doctors and researchers. I have not the expertise to evaluate these reports, but they do have the expertise, and except to say that because they are asking nothing of me and taking no money from those with ulterior motives, I tend to believe those researchers. The below are my own conclusions, but they really do seem to fit the tenacious weight gain problem so many women have today, and no other published or unpublished conclusions that I have found seem able to answer the question of why can't the women of today easily take off weight. Friends, I have just completed a survey of the average weight of females in fluoridated drinking water counties and cities and non-fluoridated drinking water cities, and the average weight of women in fluoridated cities is 15 to 20 pounds heavier. And I have found this to be no accident and should have been expected by those whom we appoint to guard our nation's health, and I'll tell you why. First, let me tell you this short story about when I first became aware of this weight gain problem. My wife of 45 years, who was always a slim, petite woman, one day began to gain weight. She gained steadily for over a year. Her clothes got tighter, and she began to take on a roundish shape. She went from 145 pounds to 170 pounds. Worried, she went to her doctor where she had tests done. When her test came back, she had her answer. Her thyroid was failing. Her doctor put her on artificial hormone called Synthroid. I did not know it then, but Synthroid is the 4th most prescribed drug in America. Oh my, how could that be? What was causing all these thyroids to fail? I began to research this, and what I found in conclusion should astonish you, as it did me. First, I found that thyroids must have iodine, and my wife and I live in the Great Lakes Midwest region, which is naturally scarce in iodine, so we used iodized salt. Years before this salt was available, we had a serious goiter problem around the Great Lakes, where the thyroid gland enlarges to attempt to glean every gram of the scarce iodine out of the environment. So lack of iodine opens up more thyroid receptor cells to fluoride, and the damage fluoride causes to the thyroid. And I learned one more thing. I had hoped to find some treatment for my wife, but no, there was no cure. Only the symptoms are reduced by taking the artificial thyroid hormone Synthroid. That is like diabetes, where man-made insulin replaces the lack of natural insulin. And then I learned a startling fact that went into my mind and stuck like a whale harpoon. I learned that years ago, doctors used a treatment to treat overactive thyroid, and the treatment consisted of taking fluoride in doses similar to that in the public water supply of most cities. And it is the same fluoride used in that thyroid reduction treatment, and worse. I found this fluoride treatment used to reduce thyroid activity was administered in 3 ways. 1, you drank it. 2, you took pills, and astonishingly, the third was by bathing in it. So when you bathe or shower in fluoridated city water, you are taking a medical thyroid reduction treatment, which reduces your calorie-burning metabolism, which keeps fat from burning off normally. Hence, many people are overweight. This is something like tossing a drowning man a rock or gasoline to a man trying to escape a fire. A person trying to reduce weight does not need a series of thyroid reduction treatments, and very poor and unreliable treatments they are at that. So when we drink or bathe in fluoridated water, we are forcing our thyroids to cut back, making everything worse, and may even be causing ourselves irreversible damage. We want to lose weight, and then we take medicine and our drinking water to prevent us from losing weight. Now let me quote this. This is from a 1930 medical treatment. End quote. This was the basis of the research in 1930 of May von Munday, who used fluoride preparations to treat overactive thyroid illness. Their patients either drank fluoridated water, swallowed fluoridated pills, or were bathed in fluoridated bath water, and their thyroid function was, as a result, greatly depressed. The use in 1937 of a drug called fluorothiazide for the purpose showed how effective this treatment was, but the effectiveness was difficult to predict, and many patients suffered total thyroid loss. So when we bathe in fluoridated water at slightly below the levels used by May von Munday, we're all of us lowering our thyroid output, and some of us may likely experience complete or partial thyroid shutdown. But one thing is sure, all of us, every one of us, will experience some reduction from the fluoride medicine sent free of charge to us by our city water department, and this will have a direct influence increasing our weight and keeping it on. Now let me read you this, if I may. This is from Dr. Barry Durand, Peatsfield, medical advisor to Thyroid United Kingdom, September 22nd, 2005. Okay, it's titled, "My Particular Concern is the Effect of Fluoride on the Thyroid Gland." End quote. Perhaps I may remind you about thyroid disease. The thyroid gland produces hormones which control our what? Metabolism, and this is what makes us light or heavy. The rate at which we burn our fuel deficiency is relatively common, much more than generally accepted by the many medical authorities. A figure of 1.4 or 1.3 by midlife is more likely. So you're down, you're low. The illness is insidious in its onset and progression. People become tired, cold, overweight, depressed, constipated. They suffer arthritis, hair loss, infertility, atherosclerosis, and chronic illnesses. Sadly, it is poorly diagnosed and poorly managed by very many doctors in this country. Unquote. Fluorine in drinking water damages the metabolism of our cell. The American Medical Society knew this in 1943 when they published this statement in their journal. End quote. Fluorides are general protoplasmic poisons, probably because their capacity to modify the metabolism of cells by changing the permeability of cell membranes and by inhibiting certain enzyme systems. The exact mechanism of such action is obscure. This is the Journal of American Medical Association, September 18th, 1943. Unquote. And the American Dental Association knew this about fluoride, taken in small amounts over long periods, in 1936 when they published in their journal, end quote, "Toxicity data suggests that fluorine, lead, and arsenic belong to the same group as far as its ability to cause symptoms of toxicity in minute dosage is concerned. There is an increasing volume of evidence of the injurious effects of fluorine, especially the chronic intoxication resulting from the ingestion of minute amounts of fluorine over long periods of time." Journal of American Dental Association, Volume 23, 1936, end unquote.